Hey guys, welcome back to the weekly recap episodes. This week we're going to be going over episode 21 and 22. And we're not doing 3 episodes this week, we're doing only 2 episodes this week because honestly we don't have any short episodes anymore and we're almost caught up. So this will give us a little more time to prepare for season 2, which is going to be coming up within the next few weeks to a month now. We're coming under the month mark, so look for that to come out, and then also the full recap we will give you guys some more insight on later, which will recap the entire first season so that people who are new can join in and get caught up a lot quicker than having to go back and watch each and every one of these weekly recaps. And then we will continue doing weekly recaps after that, but hopefully people are able to jump on and watch those who are new members anyway. So before we get into this episode, we've got Jacob, our DM, on today. We've got Brady, who plays our character Zaigon, and then we've got Zach, who is our head moderator. The way that this is going to go is I'm going to go over what has happened in episodes 21 and 22. Then we're going to have a little conversation as a group about some of the questions that I was actually the one to write this week. Zach is going to have to be kind of our outside viewer kind of conversation, so like in a viewer's sense, what was your thoughts on it kind of stuff. And then we have some questions for Brady as well, because he also has some stuff that happened in previous episodes that we need to talk about. So takes drink of mixed alcoholic drink in Flagon.
No, it's water.
Yeah, it's water. It's water. Okay. All right, so episode 21 was the episode where, man, which episode was that? What episode was that called? I forgot.
I don't have my notes in front of me.
I'm all alone on this one. That's my bad. I'm sorry, guys. Episode 21, though, basically, I'm pretty sure it's the new beginning one.
I'm pulling it. Hold on.
Zach will get it, guys. Don't worry. He's going to do this for us.
Episode 21.
Finding a new start.
Finding a new start. There we go. All right. So finding a new start is basically when we have bought the guild hall already, and then we took a couple week break, I believe, because of my wedding. Then we jumped into finding a new start after buying the guild hall, and we're back. We have a conversation with Mathis beforehand, telling him that we have the guild hall, and then we all have a couple things we're going to do. We did a little 2-week skip, so basically how that is set up in this episode is Jacob goes around the group and each of us tell him what we do in that 2 weeks. So he just goes one by one, and then after all that we end up having the guild hall open, and we have a big party and stuff. Throughout the whole group, I for the 2 weeks was creating a teleportation circle in one of the rooms of our guild hall, which is a one-time use thing that we talked about in the episode. More details we can go in later. I believe Anzu went to do some shopping and stuff. Jacob, remind me if I actually miss anything pretty important, because I think Brady's was the most important thing. I think everyone else just kind of did a little bit of shopping, not too much stuff going on. Oh, Anzu tested out his new spell, which was his avatar spell. What's it called, Jacob?
It's called Anzu's Avatar, or at least that's what Hunter likes to call it.
Okay, yeah. So it's basically a sword and a shield spell. It kind of just turns him into like a mecha Anzu for the most part, like a spirited mecha Anzu. Tested that out for the first time. It was a pretty cool reveal, because we've all been hearing about it for a couple months. So, and then we get into Brady's storyline. So Zaigon had already met his wife in episode 19. Then we bought the guild hall in episode 20, and then now he's going to meet his daughter, and his daughter's name is Lilith. And basically, he kind of had this interesting, slightly awkward interaction with her, but they met for the first time. He gave her one of our teleportation stones so that her and his wife can all kind of be linked up through that if needed. And then they parted for now, and we will probably see them very soon in the future, as soon as our our characters are safe from certain things that you guys will find out later. After that, we jumped into the party. Once again, Jacob, if you remember anything that anyone else did in that 2 weeks that was important, we can talk about that. Basically, all you have to know, there was a 2-week gap. Zaigon's the most important character in that 2-week gap because he met his daughter.
Well, not just the 2 weeks. Let's be honest.
Yeah. All right. And then we had the party, our grand opening party. We had a pretty good amount of people show up for that, including Anzu's son, Richter, and we just had a party, and our first quest ended up showing up during that party. It was a young woman who talked to Thea and Braun about going out to find her fiance who had been lost at sea for 3 weeks, I believe. His name is Olaf. And they took the quest, as we had been all the rest of us had been partying the rest of the night. And then after that, we had a meeting upstairs in our new tower room where I had also put the teleportation circle. And basically, we just had a conversation. Thea had put a truth circle on everyone, so everyone had to tell the truth. Zaigon's the only one who saved, so he actually resisted the truth spell. But I think the meeting still went really well anyway because everyone was able to get very constructive conversations out of it. And basically it just kind of goes over, for about 25 minutes, it goes over each of our characters. So if you guys do want to check out kind of like a little bit of background on all of our characters at once, that is a great place to do it, is at the end of episode 21, because we all go into details about what our character wants going forward and our thoughts on the rest of the guild. I believe Lochnar was actually the most against calling us a family. You would think it would be other people in the group, mostly me and Zaigon, but it was Lochnar because apparently he has issues with becoming a family with a group. So even though we've been traveling together for so long, a couple things that happened in that, I was able to kind of try to talk through the group with Zaigon's situation, because we've had a lot of problems in the past with me and Zaigon's characters talking in abyssal or demonic language because we both know it. And I kind of half explained the fact that we didn't fully trust the group when we were talking in those languages, and like Zaigon's lost his memory, which is a really big part of why we're always talking, is because we're both in similar situations. So I think the rest of the group was able to kind of sit there and be pretty content with that, even though maybe there's not 100% trust there. They definitely came around to trusting us a little bit more. We learned a little bit more about Anzu and Braun's character. Yeah, overall, Thea's character also a little bit. We learned that one of the funniest parts is that Anzu is actually Thea's uncle, because Thea's aunt Linares and Anzu both were in love before Linares had died in a horrible magic accident. Stop it, Jacob. And he in Hunter's words, Anzu and Linares were somewhat married, without actually being married. And then Richter was their son, who they adopted. He was a magical dragon who apparently can also turn into a human, but oh well.
You know, all dragons can do that, right?
I did not know that. I thought
all dragons can do that.
Wow. The more you know. All dragons in D&D apparently can do that. I did not know that.
No, all dragons across the world.
Yeah.
Oh my
like
God.
Zach
as well.
Oh
yeah.
wait, I wasn't supposed to say that.
Oh, okay. So going to episode 22, we kind of go over the quest. Yeah, so we get into what we're going to do for the quest the next day, and that is to go out and find Olaf, who is the fiance of the barmaiden who had come and asked us for help. Her father was also there, and he just assumes the guy left. So we went out, we talked to a couple people the morning of, and then got some information. We also tried to find some people to hire to help run our new bar in our guild hall, and also try to recruit some members. Then we left. We headed down to the docks, picked up a captain, headed out for Tal'Dorei's Crest. Tal'Dorei's Crest being the island that we were sent to. So we went out there, and then all of the men in the group had to make a saving throw against a charm, and I think we all failed it the first time, and it was of course sirens. So their song was charming all of us. And yeah, it was a very interesting fight. We ended up barely winning. I was charmed for the longest, which was really frustrating for my character being someone who's very much not a sexual or in love type of character. So, but yeah, we were able to get through that. I used my Earth Elemental form for the first time, and Zaigon was the only one to see it. And then we ended the episode kind of... I think that was where we ended the episode, was after I turned into the Earth Elemental and we killed the last siren. And Michael was unable to join us that episode, so it was just me and Zaigon and Lochnar, who all had been charmed. And Thea, I did a lot to get us out of that situation. So we'll go ahead and jump into some of the questions we have for this recap episode, which I will start us off. We're going to head back... Yeah, we're gonna head back. We're just gonna jump into Brady's conversation, because that's kind of be the main focal point for this recap episode, and then we'll have a little bit more conversation at the end. The first question I have goes back to episode 19, where we met Zaigon's wife, and that was a few episodes ago. So, Jacob, I have a question for you. What kind of anticipation did you have coming into Zaigon finally seeing his wife for the first time? Even though he did not remember her, this had been a build-up of his character's backstory for like 9 or 10 months. So,
so when Brady made Zaigon, and I was like, "What's his backstory?" And he was like, "I don't know. He made a deal with the demon, and he doesn't remember really anything." I was like, "Okay, secret wife." So basically, as soon as the character was created, I was gonna do this. I didn't know if you guys would run into her when you guys went to Amon for the first time, though, because I mean, she works, and I didn't know how hard you guys were gonna pursue the Grinsbale stuff. But yeah, she was around. Like, I was not anticipating you guys to be like going for her immediately. But yeah, there's other reasons why Zaigon met her when he did. But
yeah. Well, also, were you
that's stuff I can't quite share yet.
Yeah. Just an update for you guys watching. It is a little bit harder for Jacob and Brady to share about Zaigon specifically, just because his character's memory loss would, number one, Jacob would give away information to not only Brady about his character that, like this situation, it became a very emotional situation overall, but also it would give away too much story for anybody watching and just going forward.
I also don't want people to think like I'm running Brady's character and he just is the numbers guy.
Yeah,
right.
Brady is 100% playing his character.
Yeah.
It's just when we were creating Zaigon, we both liked the idea of a guy who kind of doesn't know his own history. And I think, Brady, you're doing a great job of kind of playing up and into that. And
yeah,
I think it's an interesting take on a character, because like Zaigon doesn't necessarily have a dark and tragic backstory. He's just got a dark and tragic current story, kind of
dark and tragic present with a very good backstory, which we will actually jump into now. We met also I have a funny thing that Jacob did in a sec as well. So we meet
did I do a boo-boo?
You did. So we meet.
We don't have to talk about my boo-boos.
No, well, we have to, because this one has to be pointed out. We'll talk about it after this question. So Brady, we meet your character's wife, and her name is Rebecca Spruce, and we're going there to figure out information about Grinsbale, because she had kind of worked with him in the past, so that is why we showed up. When we got there, she turns around, She has tears immediately come to her eyes. She comes and embraces you. You don't know what's going on. There's a moment of confusion for both of us, and then kind of the situation draws out where you guys have a conversation about how you had memory loss, and she's your wife. So number one, I want to know kind of like what your thoughts are. Just like, what was did you kind of expect that to be coming in that episode with some of the like little hints Jacob was dropping, or was that just completely out of the blue?
Oh, it was. I would say it was pretty much out of left field. To be honest, I wasn't really expecting it. He had mentioned that I had like a daughter, like that had been brought up, and I had kind of sought out some answers about that. But a wife, I really hadn't anticipated, and it really complicated some things because he had some like how I was anticipating things to go, some like love interest with other characters potentially.
Yeah, your character definitely had a couple run-ins with relationships in a couple episodes, so it was definitely one of those situations where it's like
Zaigon's a good-looking angel boy.
He's very charismatic. That's
right. Exactly.
So
he doesn't always have a way with words, but he'll convince you. That's for sure.
So moving on from that, one of the things that she mentions was she asked if you still practiced your healing magic. So pointing out the fact that you actually were a cleric in your past life. She said, basically, she was like, you say you were never one for temples, but according to her, you were a cleric. So what were kind of your thoughts on that?
It was really unexpected for me. I thought it was a really nice touch, and it honestly made me regret having taken a level in Wizard, and maybe if I had waited to multi-class, I could see where that would work out. But no, I thought it was cool, and it kind of makes sense for Zaigon, honestly, and it's kind of added some depth, whereas he's got this like dark presence around him.
I would also like to point out
corrupted
that Zaigon is a fallen ASMR.
Yes.
And that just doesn't happen. There's an event that causes something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that can be something we
that also just comes into a fact, no question here, but she mentions the fact that she hadn't seen you in about 5 years since there was an explosion and she lost you. So none of us knowing the past, that could possibly have been caused by something Zaigon did, or the deal that the original deal he made with Fraser Blue. So that is something we're gonna have to figure out in the months to come, where we start getting into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it's nice to just kind of put some puzzles together and give like a frame of reference as far as like time goes, because with no memory, it's like he knows how long he's been wandering and doing whatever.
Yeah. So she mentions your daughter, and this is where Jacob messed up. All right.
What did I say? Did I give a name for her in that episode?
Yeah. So you gave her the name Lucy.
Lucy.
Of 10 years old. And then in episode 21, you gave her the name Lilith. And the name Lilith was your purposeful name. The name Lucy, I'm assuming, was a filler name.
Yeah, I don't make NPC names often.
I'm telling you, honestly, you gotta have a list.
Shut up, Caleb. I'll do what I want. Are you DM? No. Okay. Yeah, I mean, also, like, sometimes I think of a name, and I don't like it, or I forget, and that's the thing that happened. I don't know. Like, now I'm gonna retcon that, Caleb. Now I'm gonna fix that.
Well, I mean, no, don't do that. just stay with it.
Oh no, I know how I'll fix it now.
Okay. No, well, because honestly, Lilith is just a better name. We don't have to go into the fact that you messed it up. I think everyone remembers Lilith more because it's more of a name that sticks to your head.
The fact that you did it now makes me fix it.
Oh, okay. Jacob's upset because he messed up the name, guys. All right.
I am.
Also, you said that there was, Jacob, something off about Lucy, but you did not give any specific information in that episode. Is there any hints you can give us on why you said she's a little off? Without giving too much away.
It has something to do with bloodlines.
Okay.
I will say that.
All right, so yeah, that was a big thing. So I'm also just saying that right now so that both Jacob and Brady can remember that. Sometimes on these recaps, just remembering some of these things helps Jacob write future stories. So,
Sure.
Oh, I write down story beats. It's just NPC names that I've been having to work on.
well, so moving forward from that, so Brady in episode 21, so catching up to the episodes we're actually talking about today, you end up meeting your daughter for the first time in what is 5 years. So she did know you when she was throughout her first 5 years of life, and then you disappeared from her life overall. So putting yourself in the position / the role play of a father, how does that kind of like, how did you play that out? How did that go for you?
Well, in the past, I had spoken about how like Zaigon wasn't really like comfortable around children, and just it made it extra awkward trying to reconnect with somebody that is obviously like old enough to remember him being around and then not being there. It was just kind of, I don't know, it was just a very awkward situation. Like I couldn't imagine actually having to sit down and have that conversation. So it was, I really wanted to play up the uncomfortableness of everybody involved.
Yeah, and you definitely did that. We can specifically say that encounter overall was slightly awkward because of just the whole back and forth. You mentioned she mentions that she's been practicing magic and studying to be a cleric and stuff, and she uses mage hand to throw a little ball in the air and catch it. And then you say, "Oh, I know someone who can teach you boom boom magic," and I think that was one of the funniest parts because that is something Anzu would say, not something Zaigon would say. Which really,
exactly, he's just like grasping at straws.
yeah,
like,
it just goes along with the situation. So another big thing that happened in this conversation, Jacob, this is one for you to get in on.
Okay.
All right, so you guys have you guys have an awkward hug at the very end of your conversation when they have to head out, and when you hug her, her body heats up and singes your clothes when you pull away. And it seems like or not you, but it seems like Rebecca does know at least somewhat what just happened, because she kind of gives you a look and then pulls her away and says, "Okay, that's enough for today, let's go." Jacob, what's going on there? Is there anything you can kind of stuff? Okay.
She's a dragon.
Is that just bloodline still? You can just say bloodline.
I mean, it's going to be up to Brady if he wants to explore that more.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like
Brady.
I don't know. There was a lot going on there, and I definitely want to try and get back to that storyline a little bit if we can. Just because with everything that's been going on, we've kind of had to put that on the back burner a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to jump through some of the stories. And I think also the past few weeks we've kind of been adjusting to a couple things. So it actually has only been 2 weeks since you've talked to her. We had that 2-week jump. So you talked to her during the 2-week jump, and it's only been like 3 days since that 2-week jump in the past 4 episodes, because we've been literally doing so much in the past 4 days of that 4 days in game, guys.
Right.
So Zaigon also gives her a teleportation stone as to stay connected. Theo was actually nice enough to finally trust that Zaigon opening up to her about his family and allowed him to take the second teleportation stone. Very powerful. We got him way back in Whitestone before our campaign even started. And so with the stone, you're able to teleport 2 people within a minute to the other stone. Which is a perfect amount considering your wife and child are 2 people. And then, yeah, so then it's been 2 weeks since you last talked to them, and we will try to jump into that storyline again. Are there any other things you kind of like want to talk about in that situation? Are there any questions you might have for Jacob overall, or do you want to move on?
Honestly, I was just like, just to go back to getting that stone, I was really expecting to have to like persuade Thea, but I think I kind of caught her off guard. So I was really, really surprised how easily that came together, because that was just kind of something on a whim where I was like, well, this could be useful if I ever need to get somewhere in a hurry, because obviously my character has like an obligation. He feels guilty for not being around, and it also doesn't hurt to have just kind of a just a emergency exit in case something goes down. If with something were to happen between Zaigon and the group, anything, it would just be nice to be able to just get out of Dodge real quick. And I feel like that's something that Zaigon would be all about.
I think it also, for the most part, depending on the situation, most characters would also understand that. Because, like, if you just have your newfound family and you're having troubles on a mission, or like it's going really far downhill, like, I think it'd be, as like best case scenario, as many people who like have families to get out of there, like you and I think Thea would be the two that I can think of that we would want to get out of a bad situation. So I think it's a good thing that's kind of like what's going on. I think Thea also, Abby, actually, we talked about this. She was talking about how Thea really grasps at situations where she really wants to trust Saigon, but it's just sometimes really hard. And that was also before the talk that ended up coming up in episode 21. So
true.
But overall, some really good stuff kind of like happening at the end of that episode. We got into our first quest, of course, and then our talk. With that group conversation, so Thea knows that you ended up breaking her spell for the Circle of Truth, but she did not point it out. Mm-hmm. So, do you have any kind of thoughts on that? Like, does Zaigon kind of... Did you have much to lie about in that situation, or was it mostly just short answer?
I don't know that he necessarily had a lot to lie about. I think he just didn't like being forced and put into a situation where he couldn't lie if he wanted to, because he plays how he isn't. He plays off that he isn't shady necessarily. He likes to speak that up, but in reality, he is a very shady person.
Yeah.
And I think that's how I kind of felt about it. I felt like he just wanted the option. And also there's some things that could have come out that might have bothered certain people in the group, and the way things are going. Things have been, everybody's kind of coming together now and starting to trust each other, and he didn't really want to ruin that.
Yeah. So definitely,
especially if it wasn't by his choice. So
yeah, definitely some very good talks that we had at the end of that episode. Episode 22, there's not really much conversation that we can have specifically about either of our characters. I think the only thing I would ask is, like, what was your thoughts on me turning into this giant obsidian elemental creature, and only you know about it, and also Zaigon doesn't actually tell anyone about it either, so he keeps the secret.
Yeah, I personally, not even Zaigon, was just really caught off guard by that. So I couldn't imagine being Zaigon and like actually witnessing something like that happening. And I think he and Animus kind of have a bond, almost like kind of a trust between each other, where they can kind of know where each other are coming from, and if one of them isn't really ready to tell the group about it, then they'll probably respect those wishes. But also, like, Zygon's also the kind of person that could potentially keep that in mind, and not that they would want to, but if it came down to it, he could use that against somebody, or use it to his benefit, use that information.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely it was a exciting time for me to finally use it for the first time, but I still haven't used it. And then I also just recently, in episodes that we haven't talked about yet, I just started using my magic from the demons. So give me two.
Yeah. So wait, what is that form? Like, what exactly is that? Like, when did you pick that up? Like, what's going on there?
Jacob, can you explain that? I need to go get my dog. She's barking.
I can explain it while Caleb gets his barking dog. All right, so a long time ago, like right before Kayla's wedding, um, he went on a quest to the Earth Ashari, and basically when you finish when you finish one of the Ashari tasks, the druid attunes with the elemental plane that they were on. So he unlocked the ability to use Earth Elemental form by being in the Earth Elemental plane. So that was what he was doing when we did our little solo stream on a Saturday.
That's right. I had totally forgotten that was a thing. So
and
that makes sense.
Earth Elementals usually all look the same, but I think that's boring. So for me, druids, when they use elemental forms, it reflects them, like, because the element they're harnessing is being harnessed through their magic. So to me, each earth elemental, each water elemental, air elemental, so on, should match the person that's using it.
Mine's obsidian.
So, yeah, his is obsidian, and
Dope.
like has like lava flowing through it and stuff like that.
Which is not a good thing, because Jacob keeps making my character more evil as we go on.
Oh yeah, Mr. wrote one of the edgiest backstories. Yeah,
It was not that edgy. It was just I was
my
a
parents
slave.
might be dead and they were slaves.
Everyone's parents
I
might be
barely got
dead.
out of there because my dad hired a demon.
It was
Yeah, that's
Dungeons
not
and
edgy
Dragons.
at all.
What are you talking about? But yeah, oh my god. Yeah, I think one of the things with Animus at this point is kind of like towards especially Zaigon and Thea, as I was talking before. If there was a situation where like something like really bad did come down to happen, I really think like people would try to play it out where they would want to save like everyone in the group. But like if someone or a couple people like needed to take a fall, I feel like Zaigon and Thea need to be the last people, and I think Animus would probably be the first person, because realistically, like, I don't know if I do have family I need to live for. Maybe Lochnar as well.
I think Anzu would be the one that would
sacrifice
himself first.
He's had a full life, right?
He's had a full life.
He's 275 years old.
But he's also starting a very important guild, and he's kind of like, it would be like taking the leader out of our group. Even though our group doesn't really have a specific leader, I think it'd be really harsh to take Anzu out of this group. But yeah. So
also, I have a question for Jacob.
I love when you guys ask me questions. Fire.
Well, whenever we were on the island, Anzu went ahead and used his avatar, his new ability. You had mentioned that Zaigon might be able to learn said ability. I was curious as to, could you elaborate on that? Is this something that he would like teach, or do I have to? I don't want to go there, but do I have to cut out his tongue and put it in my tome? Like, what's going on?
I mean, technically that would work. I would advise against it. But
follow-up question:
okay.
Could Cube become his tongue?
Ooh, no.
Okay.
No.
Could Cube turn into Anzu and then cut out Cube's Anzu tongue?
No,
there
because Cube's Anzu tongue is not a tongue.
Okay.
It's a sentient gelatin.
Alright, I mean, that's fair enough.
It'd be like if you made like a Jello mold and then cut a tongue piece out and then just put it on something. It would not be a tongue. Okay. But anyway, so Hunter wanted to create this spell, and I was like, that's cool. But I think flavor-wise, it also works for warlocks. So I'm allowing it to be a warlock spell as well. Now, it won't be... The spell goes up to level 9, and I don't even think warlocks ever get level 9 spells. Let me double check. I don't think they do.
But Anzu can use it at low levels anyway, so...
Especially if I'm multi-classing.
Yeah. Definitely won't reach level 9 spells.
100% check. But basically, I didn't want Anzu to be the only one. Yeah, you max out at 5th level spells. So you'll be able to use like the middle tier version of it. Basically what Anzu is using right now will be as far as you can go with it. But I think it works thematically for wizards and warlocks. So that's why you're able to do it. And honestly, you could do it like, I think basically all you're gonna have to do to be able to use it is to just observe it being used, maybe like 1 or 2 more times.
I mean, you can also just ask Yanzu to teach you how to use it, because he is a natural teacher.
Warlocks don't learn magic like that.
I mean, he could.
What
just
about
say,
multi-classed warlocks with a class and wizard?
I mean, maybe.
Well, I have a quick question just to get Zach in on this, because he wasn't able to get any questions in this week.
Yeah, you took all mine.
So yeah, I did. So Zach, basically, so as a viewer of these episodes,
I do view them.
You do, yes. What were your thoughts, or what are your overall thoughts coming into a situation where one of the characters are meeting like family for the first time? Like just like Thea with her dad, Thea with her sister, and then Anzu with a couple characters as well, and then also now more recently Brady with his character Zaigon meeting his wife and daughter.
So I am someone who really enjoys backstory of characters, whether it's Netflix shows or whatever. And so meeting like Thea's family and Zaigon's wife and kid, I don't know, I get like little giddy about it, and it makes me want to know more. Like I really want Zaigon to keep like digging at this thing and learn as much as he can about it.
I think it definitely needs to be something that he jumps into a little more before we leave Amon, which is at this moment somewhat planned to happen in the next like around the beginning of season 2. We may be leaving Amon for a while before coming back for whatever reason. Maybe. Depending on what our characters choose, because once again, it is up to us as a group in game on what we do. It is not up to Jacob or any individual in the group as to what we do. So, I mean, I don't think we have much to talk about episode 22. It was just we fought some sirens and it kind of sucked, but we got through it. We've got episodes 23 and 24 coming up next week. That basically goes into when we are able to find Olaf. And then I believe we get some new hires for the bar and maybe a little bit more story. And then I think we only have one more week of double recaps before we're completely caught up. Zach, what's up?
I do have a question for Jacob. How did you come up with the Olaf name? Did you just watch Frozen and be like, yep, that's it?
I've actually never seen Frozen.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm one of those people.
It's okay. So.
But I just kind of liked it, and I don't know. I just liked it. It came to my mind, and I was like, it's a memorable name. Whether that's because of Frozen or whether that's just because it sounds kind of funny. No offense to any Olafs out there. I love that name. But yeah, it was just a name that I came up with. And Brandy is a Easter egg that none of the group has picked up on yet.
I did.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
Brandy being Olaf's fiance, by the way, the barmaid who had ended up hiring us.
And
how did you
Harbor Town? Laying whiskey down?
Yeah. So if you've ever heard that song, Brandy, that is the description for her is the exact same. She even has a silver chain, a braided silver chain.
That's why we asked so many questions about the silver chain, because you put it in our face.
Yeah.
You were like,
I did.
This is Brandy. She's got this, and a silver chain.
Yeah, and I had her serve whiskey to you guys.
It took a day or two afterwards, but I was like, wait a minute.
Wait a second
here.
I like doing that though. So there's going to be a few more characters that are like references to songs or like other stuff, but I like doing that to see if the group's paying attention.
Yeah, like Jimmy in Margaritaville.
Good old Jimmy.
Bad jokes. I'm sorry. Well, I think that'll be our close for this recap.
Ended on a high note.
Yep.
Terrible Caleb jokes. Classic.
Yep. We're gonna end it right
Gotta
there.
love 'em.
It was awesome to talk to Brady about Zaigon. Got a lot of character stuff going on with him in Amon, as well as a couple other characters. So we will have. I don't know who we will have next week. Actually, I have to check who we haven't had in a while. Do you guys know who we haven't had on in a little while? We had Michael.
We haven't had
Might be
Hunter.
Abby.
Yeah, Hunter actually. Hunter we haven't had jump in yet in a little while. But yeah, thanks you guys. Oh wow.
You got it.
Horrible at intros and
Doing
outros.
Intros and outros.
Wow,
He does them all, folks.
I really do.
Sandwich.
Wow, thanks guys so much for watching our weekly recap videos on episode 21 and 22. Next week we'll be coming back with 23 and 24, as well as this Sunday we will be jumping into our next episode of the campaign, getting closer and closer to the end of season 1. Only a couple episodes left, so go ahead and check that out. Also make sure to be on the lookout for our season season 1 recap for the full season. And if you guys didn't know, we also are trying some new stuff through the stream and YouTube. So Hunter is going to be putting out a reading of a fan fiction, D&D based, but not our campaign based, and that will be on YouTube. So look out for that as well. Thanks guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.